Hey, Dan.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
So, as you can see in the notes, our friend Dean is a Saturday morning texter.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like to educate as we go, and it's not a big deal. A lot of these landlords and agents, they have regular jobs and they want to kind of do this on the side. Regular business isn't normally done at Saturday, 6 o'clock in the morning, but uh,
True.
fine by me. And I, you know, I'm not going to get involved unless we're very deep into a negotiation on a Saturday morning at 6 a.m. And part of that is it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm not going to get all parties involved on a call on a Saturday morning. It's not how business is done, if you know what I mean. So
Yeah, I understand.
that's it. That's where we're at. So if I'm right, we talked to him. It's a huge space, and that's what we have to overcome is that, you don't want to be spending money on space that isn't being utilized for the laundromat.
Right. Yeah, I agree. He did say in the last phone call that the Mexican restaurant next door was thinking about possibly, using a little bit of that space, and he said to us that he wasn't sure how that might work out. And you basically said that doesn't matter to us. However, as long as we can still run our laundromat. So that was the only thing that he really kind of talked about with that. I'm impressed.
Right.
That at least he
That's
tested it.
is a little diarrhea of the mouth where if without asking, folks will tell you, well, we might want to allow a different tenant to take over said space. We might want to do this. We might want to do, I always hear about national chains. Checker Auto Parts wants to come in, a guy told me. And it's like, okay, well, where are they? Why haven't they made the deal? I'm not always thinking that everyone's trying to use negotiating tactics, but when you say something that behooves your organization, it is a negotiating tactic. Oh, darn it. Most people are so excited about getting this done. There's a lot of psychology. We're human beings. Once we decide we want to own a coin laundromat, that's the thing, full steam ahead, no matter what, even if you're losing. So can we get this spot for 50 cents a square foot? Who knows? But he's excited. He's ready to talk, and he just called me back. So let's hit him up. Big Dean.
Okay, do it.
Stand by. Dean, I like a guy that does business on Saturday morning. No more cartoons for us.
Okay. All right. I'm a cartoon guy.
Tom and Jerry. Tom
Yeah.
and Jerry.
At least I like the old ones.
It's too violent for kids these days. They can't. Well, I don't know. The stuff that they watch on Adult Swim. Rick and Morty. That's the new thing. You watch Rick and Morty?
I don't know. I'm not an internet guy. My kids, occasionally when I walk by their computer screens, it is shocking.
No, it's on Cartoon Network. Rick and Morty is a lot of fun.
Oh, okay.
It's like the old Ren and Stimpy, which is funny to say that that's old.
Yeah.
All
Yeah, I
right.
just
So
watched
what did you find out on this lovely space in Indy?
Well, I mean, all I can tell you right now is that what I rented it before, and it was at the $12 square foot range, and it had increases and annual increases, and that's part of the reason that he claimed that he went out of business because of the rent was too high. But,
well, I want to break that down because I'll forget in 5 minutes to touch on that.
So,
he went out of business
sure.
because he didn't know how to make money. We all understand that. I mean, whether it's a nail salon or a yogurt shop or a national chain where you've got teams of people helping you from out of state to run the operation, this is a laundromat. So what you want is someone that understands what's going on. I'm not asking. I don't know what type of drama was involved in the lengthy back and forth with this particular operator. But frankly, our business is really equipment oriented. Sure, the color that you paint the walls is important to my team. I have, I'll tell you, hospital white. I mean, it's a commercial space. We don't have to think about what color. I don't bring my wife in and say, do you like the pink or the blue? Look at the swatches. It comes down to the everything of it, yes. But the preponderance, you go to a restaurant, we all understand. My wife and I love to eat out. It's food, service, atmosphere. There's nothing more to it. You can try to break it down a million ways, but a restaurant is food, service, atmosphere. What's the most important thing? The food. We've all eaten at greasy spoons where there's really not much atmosphere, or maybe you enjoy that atmosphere. We've all eaten at places where, you tell your friends, don't go in the bathroom, but the pizza's great.
And the equivalent to that in a laundromat is this what you're saying is that the machines need to work?
Yeah.
And they need to be operable. Well, half of the dryers weren't even operable.
Right. I know. And we've had our finger on the pulse of this store for some time. And, we don't typically wait for the store to close. That's not our MO. Now it is. So obviously your group has decisions. Vanilla the space, put brand new air conditioning on the roof, split it because it's big, and, hope with more inventory to lease it to an optometrist or who knows, a bead shop and a nail salon. I don't know. But yeah, you're right. The laundromats are all about equipment, and we do a 15-year term because we know we're going to be retooling typically every 7. Also where our benefits run out. Also, the taxes on the new equipment, and it all makes perfect sense to us. But no one aims to fail, but it's also part of purchasing the business. If you do that, in my opinion, that's a step in the wrong direction. So here we are. I mean, the issues that we're having is that it's not all plumbed for a laundromat. If we've got a 3,000 square foot facility with 3,000 square foot worth of gas, water, electric, it's a simple matter of calculating what that rent should be. I love 80-cent rent. You're saying this guy was paying $12 and could not survive. But then again, it comes down to, will I retool? You're putting our feet to the fire here. Obviously, like we talked about, once we get into the rate, once we have the rate of rent, we know that we can survive at X and profit at Y. But we need to meet somewhere that makes sense for both of us. What say you? Where are we at?
Well, okay. One thing that a big concern, notwithstanding the rent, is you've already touched upon it. Is if you don't need 4,000 square feet, you're going to need, unless you take off 2 dryers, I guess, on the one end. Right now, it's about 3,200 to 800, meaning that, I don't. Do you remember? Do you have it in your head? Where the dryers stop to the left.
Yeah.
As you're looking at, okay, right there. If you were to put, because that's what we were going to do. We were going to put the wall right there, and then have the Mexican restaurant next door take basically everything else.
As long as you're dividing the space and not dividing the infrastructure, that's fine. I don't need to put pool tables and massage chairs in there and have a giant kids play area, but we don't want to lose infrastructure.
Yeah. And I guess to me, that's a big question is, do you want to, I think to me, what probably makes most sense is, if I'm assuming you don't need 4,000 feet, is to either move those 2 over and make it maybe like to 1,000, 3,000. You probably could do that. Take out 1 bathroom if that's allowed. I guess that I don't know.
We don't need ADA compliant. Yeah, I mean, obviously there were 2 suites combined here.
Yeah, and I don't know why he did it. I have no idea where Chris did that. And the bathrooms are huge on top of that. They're you could put a bed in there, a couple of beds in there. That's how large they are. 1 bathroom would be fine. And then with that extra space, that's where your office could be, and another storage area. I think 3,000 probably is enough, is my guess. And then that 1,000, wherever we divide that wall, there, I don't know. You know, the Mexican restaurant, they've expressed some interest. I think smaller units are pretty easy to rent. So that'd be, 1,000 square feet. Those are the easiest for me to rent.
Sure.
When my barbershop, or before I got the barbershop there, that's at 950 feet, I had office people contact me, at all kinds of people. But when I get to about 2,000 to 3,000, there it's more difficult.
Well, why don't we do this? We can go to the mattresses, put something in writing, let you see where we're at. But I want to discuss it with you because you know where you're at. This at 3,000 square feet, we're going to be spending close to $400K on washers and dryers here. Don't be surprised or impressed when we ask for the drop ceiling to be replaced in the LOI. Does the landlord have any money?
Well, landlord's me.
Okay, so you own the building. Good. Well, last time we talked, you were kind of ambiguous about operating, but that's good. It's you, and that's why I asked.
No, I'll tell you the truth. That last time the phone wasn't working, and I didn't know who you were. I was just, I didn't know, But what I said was the truth. I didn't lie to you. I do not own it.
No.
My wife bought it. She owned it exclusively, 100%. My wife died in 2019, and that's how I got into this. Thank you. Into this, and when she was dying of cancer the years before, I became more involved. I'm an accountant. I'm not a landlord type.
Sure.
Don't know much. I've just stumbled into this.
Well,
it was her baby.
My condolences. That's horrible. I can't imagine.
It is. Yeah, and it doesn't get easier. It doesn't get easier.
You're the guy, Dean. So let's do this.
My children, but just one last thing. So my children own it, but I'm the member manager of it. So I'm the only person that can even have any authority because my children are all minors. So
okay.
I am the person. So
shit, dude. I'm sorry.
I'm the only guy.
Well, listen, you said it yourself. You're the guy. And the word landlord kind of grosses me out. That's icky. Either you're the lord of the land, some 16th century Japanese lord, where your samurais are going to come over the hill. It's very Sun Tzu. But Dean and Danny, and what you're going to see is a letter of intent from my partner. Look, we're going to ask for that 12 months of abatement, like I said, because it is going, whether or not it's some landlords now are providing us the runway where the minute that we open, we've got 30 days of abatement from there. This place is not operating. There's no way to limp it along with zero equipment. No one cares. And every consumer that was using this laundromat, even the ones that were hanging on by a thread because it was close, within walking distance, whatever, I walk into these stores that are operating, and it's funny because I'll ask the consumer, why are you here? And they always have an excuse. Well, it's close. They feel badly because they're like, the place is trashed. It's a wreck. The machines don't work. But I'm in here because of X or Y. They always have, and I call it an excuse. In this case, they're gone, and it's hard to pull them back. It's all word of mouth. It takes tons of time. I don't want to come to you hat in hand in 2 years saying, man, we couldn't make it. The distributor's going to come and pull the equipment out. We've lost everything. At that point, what? We all lose because you want good tenants, be it a Mexican restaurant, a dry cleaner, or a laundromat. And we hope to be that.
Well, let me ask you about the 12-month abatement. How long is it going to take for you to get this thing running? I don't think it's going to take more than a couple months. I mean, I know it looks bad.
I wish you were right. You're dead wrong. Have you tried to purchase a vehicle lately?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm trying to.
Well, I don't know if you're plugged into social media or not. You've filled your tank recently. You understand that the supply chain is horrific. I don't know if you've purchased an appliance for your house. We went to buy a refrigerator the other day, and sign on the line. Everything's good. We think we're taking it home. Well, you can have it in 6 months. So there might be one small part coming from China, and that's the case with this equipment. I mean, we can be, you've got an empty space here that's doing nothing for you. And at the end of the day, really for me, it's not about getting the place retooled and operating and running. 3 months, if I had the equipment on trucks on the way from Wisconsin, most certainly. But right now, understand that washers and dryers in a commercial space, my distributors, I go to all of them and I say, give me the best price for the equipment, what I need to fill this space. Then they build it. They don't have this stuff sitting on some shelf like an old Indiana Jones movie, right? It's not that. It needs to be built. It's not custom equipment. It's just industrial equipment. So again,
do you have to have the whole thing, every single space that, washer and dryer that's available to have a machine in there before you start the business?
Well, Dean, when I order equipment, it's all, now just imagine there's two prongs to the answer to that question. Yes, of course, because we order the equipment and it comes in. Beyond that, imagine if there's one space where one washing machine is missing. I can't have some kid crawling behind there and there's water and electricity. That's a recipe for disaster.
No,
Insurance, proper insurance in a laundromat is bad enough without having death traps everywhere. Because kids like to play hide and seek.
You'd have to cover it I know. I understand. Sure.
But the equipment, I'm not in the business of limping the store along and giving it the trying is lying. I learned in boot camp, and that has stuck with me. I'm not sure what the end of that phrase is. But
the guy that Chris is the prior tenant. So that's why I keep saying Chris. So Chris used May Queen, and it was a guy. I remember the guy. So would you be using the same, or do you have a whole different, Bud, that's his name. It was Bud something.
So here's the thing about this. The consumer doesn't care what equipment that we use, nor do I. We're after infrastructure in the existing space. And then once we have a lease in hand, I'm going to go to every distributor and say, usually we have them come on the same day. It's fun to watch. They see each other's trucks in the parking lot. They like to beat each other over the head. I know these guys, I have relationships with them, but I don't care, and they understand that. How do you get the best price? You drive to Ford in the morning and go to Chevy in the afternoon. So we're bringing all the distributors in once the lease is in hand and saying, look, we need equipment. Let's get it done. Who can get it done quickly? There will be a glut in the next couple of years of equipment where there's just tons of it. And that hasn't happened yet. Again, supply chain issues. So that's also part of it, where they say, well, we've got a warehouse full of equipment. That doesn't happen any longer. It's spoken for. But that's a good question. The answer to which distributor is best, there's no such thing. Certainly not in my opinion. I like to keep the equipment the same in every store, obviously, for ease of maintenance. But lengthy warranty, best price for equipment is it? What does a work truck cost versus a pickup for use on the weekends, for residential use, for fun? There's a big difference. And the disparity is what we pay is better because we get a good rate.
So, put yourself in my shoes for a moment. And if my concern is, after 1 year, if you had a 1 year abatement, after 1 year, it doesn't work out, you move everything out like Chris, and it's a disaster again. You've moved your equipment out. How am I protected? Do I get something even after 1 year?
Well,
is there any protection at all?
No.
Okay.
What is
I want you to be honest, but
I don't know any other way. What's your protection? If somebody comes to you and says, I want the 1,000 square foot that you've subdivided, and they want to put a Braille dartboard store in there, you're going to scratch your head and say, I don't think blind people play darts. But at the end of the day, you're probably going to ask for first and last, heavy deposit, and then they'll say, I only want a year lease. As an intelligent businessman, you're thinking, this ain't going to work. But you also don't want to rob that person of their savings, or say, you might sit them down and say, probably won't work. Or a great idea for a Mexican Chinese restaurant, whatever. It's cockamamie, but sometimes it works. We don't know. You walk into an AT&T wireless store on a Saturday morning, there's nobody in there because they're not selling phones. They're selling minutes online. But if they come to you and say they want this spot, you go, oh, let's do it, because they have all that background. For us, what you're going to see, we can stay in touch. And it's a great question. The answer is you've got no guarantees. Right now, this place is sitting vacant, doing nothing for you. Have you looked into what it costs to vanilla this spot, to turn this back to gray shell?
I haven't looked because I don't have the time. I don't have the time or the know-how to do it.
It's April, man. I'm surprised you're not doing taxes right now.
I am. I was on the call when you said that. But I'm not I'm not a contractor. I just know basic things when it comes to building, but I'm certainly no expert, and I've just learned on the fly in the past 7-8 years since we've owned it. But my concern, well, okay, to answer your question, I had a guy that wanted a laundry. He already had $300,000 loan, and he was excited. He looked at it, but then it was too far from his home. That was the only thing. He wasn't willing to go.
Personal problem.
But it was a person. That was it. I think it would have worked out fine. So now I've got 2 people that have come to me, and they want it. At least one, I don't know yet. I'm going to talk later this afternoon. It's a language barrier from a tenant that I have right now, and so she's looking for someone to speak English. But so I don't even know I have no idea what she plans. But the other one was to be like a banquet party hall. There's apparently not much around there.
Well, hey, look, what you want is security, and I hate to say it, this. Those places are very fly-by-night because what they're doing, a bunch of folding tables and cocktail napkins, and they're out in the middle of the day. I'm just saying. And then what happens? The next pandemic or the next shutdown, and wow. God bless them. I hope that works for you. But it's going to be close to $80,000 for you to vanilla this space. I know that by square footage because you've got roof penetrations, you've got sidewall penetrations for the dryers, but you haven't looked into it. You bring a contractor in there in 20 minutes, they'll tell you, okay, we've got to fill the concrete troughs. That's why for you, for ease, what I'm hearing you say is you want simplicity, you want this out of sight, out of mind, you want to collect a rent check. That's us. You'll be collecting that rent check. If you can, we're going to write a letter of intent on a 3,000 square foot space. We're going to start with 80 cents, get to $1. I don't know if you want, what do you want? Increases? How do you want to work that?
I'll just have to look at it. If it's that low, when you say
12 is one.
You mean say it again.
12 is one. So $10 to begin with, and $12 like you said. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm not trying to give you 12 cents a square foot here.
Okay, I just never heard of it referred to as that. So, like I said,
you're a landlord, so, and I own commercial space too. You think in terms of years, so it's $12 a year, but that's $1 a month, 12 months.
I assume that's what you meant. I just want to be sure. So,
of course. Okay.
So, I will be asking for some increase, and if the business is improving and it's good for you.
Of course. We have to. I'm not going to put increases.
You will be my lowest rent by far.
Good.
All the other ones.
And let me talk on that. If you've got a phenomenal Mexican restaurant next door, great. That's reputation. Hopefully, they're smart enough to sign a 5-year lease with 5-year options with you. That's their business. Reputation, like we talked about. Food, service, atmosphere. If their food is phenomenal, chips and salsa, etc. You know what? Right next door is a laundromat. These people that use the laundromat may eat Mexican food, sure, but they're not in the same demographic because they won't put their laundry in and then go next door for chips and salsa. It removes them from the demographic. So remember that.
Yeah.
But we will elevate the center. Imagine a beautiful, bright, shiny, sure, we use stainless steel equipment. Why not? Price is the same. At the end of the day, you've got a well-lit parking lot, and the most important security is one consumer in this store. You can envision it. You understand it. We're going to send you a letter of intent. I've got your email address. Go ahead.
Okay, let me ask you another, because this is kind of important.
Sure.
It's as important as the rent, actually. So if you're talking about 3,000 square feet, give or take, wherever it makes sense to divide it. I'm fine with that. I'm not going to hold you to exactly that. I think it makes more sense to whatever works for you. But I'm just telling you right now, I think it's a little more than 3,000 where the dryers are currently located. So if you divide that, so you're saying you will not take that other space and sublet it out? You will not do that under any circumstance?
I'm not in the business of subletting your space. We're not interested in that. Ease and simplicity for us as well. Eventually the store will be 24 hours. That's the way a laundromat has to run. We don't live in fear. We don't put up steel bars. We use Alexa systems in the store. Why not have an intelligent laundromat? When you walk in here, you're going to have a very different feeling. You're going to think to yourself, okay, this is a national chain, which it's not. They don't exist.
Yeah. Okay. Then the electric, like for the breaker boxes and all that, are on the other side. So it's walled off, so you'll be able to access it from the back, but you won't be able to.
Well, look, I've done this. I've done this before. We've knocked down walls. We've put in lentils. We've added makeup air for the dryers that didn't exist. There's a lot to come. And looking at all that, obviously, we are looking for you to handle any city permits. We're looking for you to handle any cost. Or your other option is lease us the 3,000 square foot and leave it the way it is. But I don't want to pay for empty space. That should make perfect sense to you.
Yeah. Okay.
And let's go back to the beginning, right? The earth cooled, the dinosaurs came. I don't build laundromats. It's a simple matter to put all the infrastructure in and spend the money. We're ahead of the game here because the gas, water, electric exists. But if it's too costly for you to split the space, you're going to see a letter of intent based on 3,000 square feet. It's what we want to pay for. I've done it before. And we might use that space, but we're not going to put pool tables and massage chairs in there. It might end up being a kid's play area that's large. And then you bring that element in. The folks that use the laundry will appreciate it, but I'm not going to pay for it. That should make sense.
Okay. And I'm okay with that too, because I'm pretty sure. So I'm okay. I'm okay with that because to me, that's an fairly easy rent.
There you go. Don't split the space. Go to the city, deal with the permits. I mean, I'm not going to implant that concept or idea in your head, but if it's simpler for you, look, I don't know if you own this building. I don't know if you've got a hefty mortgage. I don't know, and I'm not asking what your taxes look like. I want to run another successful coin laundry. I have all of those ideas and concepts laid out. You asked for guarantees. There are none. But who you have on the line here is operators, myself and Mr. Preston, who you will see in the LOI, that know what we're doing. And when you ask me anything about laundromats, I'll bore you to tears. Who cares? You want someone that knows what the hell they're doing, so the rent check comes in. It's that simple.
And so the air conditioning right now there's the large one, and I can't remember how many ton it is, probably is going to be sufficient for 3,000 square feet. It's 6, 8.
So let me interrupt again. Yes, sufficient. I'm sure you're correct. Because typically look, even in Indianapolis, we see stores that are still swamp cooled in 2022. We still see it. We see stores that have fans and nothing more. Imagine that. I wouldn't send my worst enemy into those stores in the dead of summer. The sufficient HVAC for a laundromat is very different than sufficient HVAC. Because here's the thing, a lot of people don't know. Yeah, air conditioners cool the air. They also remove moisture. Guess what the enemy of HVAC is? A laundromat. Because all of our washers throw tons of moisture into the air. All of our dryers, tons of heat. And I've seen they literally will put Arcadia doors in front of them with sliding glass, all these ridiculous methods to try to keep the dryer separated from the washer area. It doesn't work. What you need is heavy tonnage. It'll be reflected there. But Dean, you're looking at $300,000 plus in the next 15 years. Is it money in the bank? Like I said, I keep touching on the guarantees. There are none in life. We all understand it. Let me send you the letter of intent, and then you got my number. You can call me, and we can talk about it.
Yeah, that's probably the best thing to do. Just send it over, and we'll go.
It's a real offer. Yes, correct? It's a real offer from folks that want to have another. And this is not a, this is not a feather in our cap. Feathers blow away. This is a jewel in the crown. Every new store is our baby, and we intend to treat it as such. Dean, I appreciate you. Give us about a day and send the LOI over.
Okay, one last question. Maybe the letter of intent may not explain. I'd like to know, so what do you have right now? You're obviously, I can tell you speak well with this, but how many do you have right now? Is it local? Is it regional?
Sure. Can you tell me? You have to be local. We are local. Let me send you an email first right now, before and after pictures of our stores, how it works, what we do, and you can crawl up my ass and have a look.
That sounds good.
Thank you, Dean.
We'll talk
Look forward to it.
Okay.
Cheers.
Okay, take care. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
All right. What'd you say?
I said, wow. A lot of information.
Look, he's a really nice guy, and that happens all the time, more than people want to give me credit for. And I'm not here to chop a guy off at the knees no matter what. I can't imagine. Lost his wife, has kids that are young. That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking to hear, Danny. I agree.
And beyond that, he is not a landlord. He's got this building, and he kind of what was the most important thing in the call was that he's talking about how you have to take a small bit of information from these landlords and run with it, if you will. And the one thing he said over and over, he wants this to be simplistic. And that's where it hit me. Yeah. These are all zigs and zags, all of it. Take the information, use it as best you can. When I realized I threw that city permit thing out there not to scare him, but that's the reality of splitting this space. You don't have to deal with environmental impact fees or the city planning. We are going to plug this equipment in 2 or 3 days, the way the Willifords do, as quickly as you can, through the back door. And when I put a washer in my house, I don't call the city and ask. I don't ask for permission. I'd rather beg for forgiveness. This is what is to come. Again, the guy he's an accountant. He doesn't get 80 cents versus $10. That's fine.
Right.
I'm going to send you the LOI. We're there. You're going to send it out to him and include the everything. It was a good call, but he's, I don't want to call him nervous, but he wants to make sure, hey, those are all very common questions. And you're going to pay for 3,000 square foot and get an extra 1,000 square feet for nothing. That's good.
Which is, yeah. And I was excited about that because I'd like to eventually run like a pickup, wash and fold out of that space if possible. So,
well, look, dude, I'm in this for the long haul. Yeah, I'm in this for the long haul. We can talk about that. Less is more when it comes to the LOI. You don't want to put, we're paying you for 3,000 even though it's 4. You don't do that. Don't get wordy when it comes to the LOI or the lease. This guy's lease will probably be 9 or 10 pages, and this is the inception of it. This is what I'm doing on a consistent basis. LOI will be in your inbox as well as instructions how to do it. It's a one-pager.
Right, we've done one before.
Okay,
yep,
good.
We've done one before.
All right, goodbye.
All right, bye, Danny.
Later.
Cheers.
There's a lot of new folks joining my channel, and I hope you're one of them. It really means a lot to me if you hit the subscribe button, because then you won't miss any of these lives. You'll get a notification on your phone, you'll get an email, and you'll be involved in the live and the chat and the discussion. What the hell is this? Why is it freelaundromat.com? Because when I got into this business, I bought a store. I spent $250,000 on a laundromat, like so many of us that are in this business. Didn't know, didn't understand it. Had really never stepped foot in a laundromat until I owned one. Recent memory, when's the last time you used a laundromat? We can survive in the middle class and never use a laundromat. That's not Elizabethan, let them eat cake. It's not for the poor either. If you live in Brooklyn Heights, you might live in a $2 million brownstone and just not have room for a washer dryer. So either you or your maid goes to a local laundromat. It's different in Indianapolis. Landlords like this are everywhere. Refuse to pay for the laundromat, sign a long-term lease, retool the store using otherpeoplesmoney.com. That doesn't fit on a business card. It's free laundromat. I have minted millionaires all over this country and 28 others. It's turned into this. I didn't know that I wanted to negotiate leases, but I was begged. I put a course together. You can click it here and get it. And then people said, I want you to call the landlord, Danny. I don't know, how the hell is that going to work? I didn't know. I created this. Here we are today. When will it end? When I get tired of doing it. And I love it. I enjoy it. I enjoy talking to people, consulting with you. The course comes first. Okay, subscribe comes first, then get the silly course. You want to own coin laundromats, change your life, deposit tens of thousands of dollars a month? Great, start here. Fill your head with as much information as you can. There's a lot of ambiguous folks out there that won't, you got a question, email me, Danny@freelaundromat.com. Email me. I'll answer you. I've got my important people, my clients, waiting to make calls all over the country, Guam and Australia today. I appreciate each and every one of you. All of you making comments here in the live, I appreciate you. Comment in the video itself. It also helps the algorithm and helps bring other folks into this channel. I do these lives. I don't edit them. I hope you enjoy. Out.